CES 2019 has now finished, and it was pretty good. It was awesome. There was a lot of interesting tech, and even though I haven't attended CES myself, I've actually followed it really closely, so here are my top 10 CES 2019 announcements. This is the tech that I found to be the most interesting one, and also the most useful one that could actually launch this year, or at least in 2020. So here's some interesting things, grab some CES popcorn, and enjoy. So number 10, we have a 1 terabyte microSD card. So SanDisk has actually showed us a 1 terabyte microSD card prototype a few years ago, but for whatever reason, it was never released. However, Lexar has actually unveiled and also released their own microSD card, which is 1 terabyte of storage and also up to 95 megabytes per second read speeds. So yeah, this is actually coming to the market in 2019. So if you shoot 4K video, 4K content, especially let's say on a GH5, in the 400 megabits per second, 10 bits data rate option, then this can actually be a lifesaver. Then at number 9, we had the Samsung Galaxy S10 teaser by Samsung. So even though this wasn't released at CES, it's coming pretty soon. And we had our first tease at the Samsung Galaxy S10. So they actually had a booth at CES with all of their Galaxy S phones, the Galaxy S series, the Galaxy Note lineup. And there was a box right next to the S9, after the S9, with the S10, but there was nothing in there. So that was the first teaser, and then they actually showed us the actual teaser image, the launch invite, with the 10 in the middle, Samsung Galaxy Unpacked on February the 20th, 2019. So there you go, this is when we'll actually see the Galaxy S10 officially introduced. I'll have some more Leaks and Rumors episodes on the S10 coming soon, so definitely subscribe and notifications if you're new to the channel and you want to see that. But in this invite, aside from the obvious number 10, the second thing that's noticeable here is the gradient. So take a look at how the colors actually shift from a pink to a blue and then back to this pink and then to this violet. So a gradient is more than likely coming to the Galaxy S10. This was rumored for quite some time. But then do you guys see that black line in the middle? Look at how the displays actually curve a bit once they get near that line. So this could either be 2 phones instead of 1 with 2 different gradients, or it could be another sneak peek at Samsung's foldable Galaxy X, which they briefly showed on the stage at the end of 2018. And number 8, we have the brand new Razer Blade 2019 15-inch Advanced. So the Razer Blade 15 was actually my choice for the best gaming laptop of 2018 award, and the 2019 model is even crazier than the 2018 was. So first of all, it comes with a brand new RTX 2060, the 2070, as well as the 2080 Max-Q. Damn, Daniel. And not only that, but it also comes with, guess what, a 4K OLED display option that's also a touchscreen. So yeah, 4K OLED, this would make this the best display on any laptop out there. So there we go, this will actually be one of the first OLED display laptops on the market, and that's awesome. OLED is the best technology for displays we have at the moment. MicroLEDs are not there yet. But yeah, OLED displays on a laptop, that's just the dream. Now, if you're actually into gaming and you want to get into, competitive gaming and you want to get this laptop for that, then an even better option is a 1080p display, which you can opt for this, which has a refresh rate of 240 Hz. So you can get that instead of the 4K OLED if you're into gaming. So yeah, overall, this laptop is insane. So Razer, if you're watching this video, hit me up. Email business@ZONEofTECH. I would love to check one out, just saying. Next up, we have the brand new AMD Radeon 7 GPU, which is actually the first GPU based on a 7nm process. This is why, it's called the 7. Or actually, maybe it's called the 7 because it's a number 7 in this list. Yeah, definitely that. But it actually competes with the NVIDIA RTX 2080 graphics card, and it actually starts at the exact same price, which is $700, same price as a standard RTX 2080. AMD says that it offers 25% better performance at the same power consumption as the previous Vega 64, so you can actually run games in full 4K and ultra settings at way over 60 frames per second. At least this is what AMD is claiming. But personally, I'm a bit skeptical. Actually, I'm very skeptical in terms of the performance of the Radeon 7. I really don't think it's a match for the RTX 2080. Not even to mention that NVIDIA also has the RTX 2080 Ti. However, if you're into content creation, then, the 16 gigabytes of HBM2 memory alongside the 1 terabyte of memory bandwidth, which is insane, those two things are basically a godsend. So yeah, if you do any video editing, then this should be, on paper at least, a much better option than the RTX 2080. Next up, we have a very interesting product from Asus ROG. So this is the brand new ROG mothership, which is a desktop, not really, a laptop, Not really. So the whole point that Asus made was that on a laptop, the base of the laptop is almost touching the desk, which means that airflow is actually restricted. Reason why with the mothership, the base is actually the display, which means that it gets more room to breathe. So it actually comes with a laptop processor, the 6-core 4.3 GHz i9 8950 HQ processor, HK, which is actually the one inside the i9 MacBook Pros. Obviously, this one doesn't throttle at least that much. So this one was also overclocked to 4.8 GHz from 4.3. This thing also comes with 64 GB of DDR4 memory, NVMe SSDs in RAID 0 with speeds of up to 8.7 GB per second, according to Asus, which would make this the fastest memory in a laptop ever. Also, there's an RTX 2080 inside of this thing. However, interesting enough, the display is only 1080p at 144 Hz. But honestly, at that resolution and with those specs, you should be able to play basically any game out there maxed out while getting way over 140 frames per second. So yeah, this is an insane computer. It makes a lot of sense for you to have something like this because, if you have a gaming laptop that's massive anyways, you won't be using that laptop on your lap. Anyways, you will be using it on your desk. And if you're using it on your desk, then it makes a lot of sense to have a computer with the internals on the side so that they breathe more. So, this thing makes a lot of sense. I cannot wait to get my hands on this. Then at number 5, even though this one isn't out yet, at least Canon has confirmed that they are indeed working on a full-frame mirrorless camera capable of shooting 8K video. No, it's not April the 1st just yet. Remember Canon, they actually struggled a lot with 4K support. I mean, they only launched a 4K mirrorless camera, the EOS M50 in 2018, literally last year, and it still lags far behind something like a Panasonic GH5 or even the GH4 from 2014 in a lot of cases. I mean, regardless, this camera won't be out in 2019, but I mean, Canon could release it in 2020, and when they do, this would be a very, very impressive toolkit to have. And then Panasonic has also launched their new Lumix S1 and the S1R cameras, which are also full-frame mirrorless cameras, and they can do 4K 60 video, not 8K just yet, but 4K 60. However, they're not a replacement for the GH5 series, which would still be their main video-focused camera. So the GH6, the one that's coming out probably in 2020, that one could do 8K video, same as the upcoming Canon 8K camera. Number 4, and now we got into the really interesting stuff. So in number 4, we have IBM's Quantum Computer, the Q System 1. Now this is still an early experimental device. It is not something that IBM would be launching anytime soon. So it's a 20 qubit computer, quantum computer, which isn't something very impressive when it comes to the number of qubits, but apparently it's actually built for stability, and it also comes with one of the best designs that I've ever seen on any device. I mean, take a look at this thing, how futuristic this thing actually looks like. Obviously, quantum computers are still in the works, so yeah, don't expect to buy this thing to, plug it into a monitor and a keyboard and a mouse and for it to just work like that. It doesn't work like that. So your 5-year-old laptop is actually way more powerful at running the apps that you do than IBM's Q System 1 is, at least for, the next few years. This is essentially just a stepping stone in the right direction, and in 10 years or so from now, we might just start seeing quantum computers that you can actually buy and use within your business. But something that we will be seeing very soon, actually, this year, is Intel's Lakefield architecture. So, you probably know how Intel has been struggling a lot with their 10nm process for quite a few years now. So Intel's 10nm architecture, Cannon Lake, I've actually seen an early preview of Cannon Lake a few years ago, and I think it was 2013. Well, that was supposed to be launched in 2016, and we're in 2019 now, and it still hasn't been fully released. And when everyone believed that Intel was dying, it seems like they still had one ace left in their sleeve. So at CES 2019, Intel showed us their upcoming Lakefield architecture, which is not only based on a 10nm process, finally, but it also features something quite unique, a stacked 3D architecture. Essentially, with Lakefield, you can stack all the SoC components on top of one another, so not only would you have a 3D SoC instead of 2D, but you could also save much more space, and you can also achieve much better, actually significantly better performance, since all the controllers would be connected directly to the processor. Now, Intel's Lakefield architecture, so the stacked 3D SoC, would only be included in 2-in-1 computers and possibly some handheld devices as well, but Intel has also announced the brand new Ice Lake architecture, which are basically processors designed for high-end laptops. And they're also based, finally, on a 10nm process. So there you go, this is the actual first architecture that's going to be released in 2019 that would be based on a 10nm process. And it will offer full support for Intel's upcoming Gen 11 graphics, integrated graphics, and also the new Wi-Fi standard, Wi-Fi 6. Next up at number 2, we have the first flexible smartphone to ever be not just demoed, fully demoed, but also released. So it's currently on sale in China for about $1,320. So this thing is quite pricey. And if you plan on buying this, well, just don't. don't. Why? Well, the display is just 1080p, and apparently even though it's an OLED panel, it's got a lot of color banding, discoloration, as well as image retention, so this is one of the worst panels on any smartphone right now, and this is how it actually ships. But I mean, hey, it's the world's first commercially available flexible smartphone, and it comes with a 7.8-inch display, so it is a bit smaller than an iPad mini, but you can fold it and you get, two close to 4-inch panels. So yeah, this is indeed the future. This is where everything is heading towards, having a device, a tablet that you can fold into something that's way more portable, a phone, and then you can unfold that when you want to watch a movie on a train or something, and boom, you have a tablet from, a small smartphone. Now, Samsung will most likely show us even more about the Galaxy, their upcoming foldable phone, the Galaxy X, at the Unpacked event on February the 20th. So definitely subscribe, hit the bell icon, and I'll definitely cover that as soon as the event is over. But until then, this is another stepping stone in the right direction. And then at number 1, guess what we have at number 1? Well, we have the biggest and the most exciting tech that's not really in a single product, but rather this is a product technology in itself. And it's the micro-LED displays. So here's the thing, LCD panels are actually the worst and the oldest display tech that we actually still use today. So on LCD panels, we have, the pixels that actually provide just the color, and you need a separate backlight, which means that if you want to display black, you're not going to have a pure black because you still need the backlight to be on. So you're going to have that gray, which you always see on LCD panels. Now, the story is a bit different with OLED displays, which is the superior technology. So with OLED displays, the pixels provide both the color as well as the individual backlight, which means that you can actually turn off and on individual pixels as you wish, and you can get those true deep black levels. However, OLEDs are not perfect because one, they're not as bright as, LCD panels. I mean, take a look at what Samsung's doing with QLED, which is still LCD panels, but are really, really bright. And then the second issue with OLEDs is burn-in. If you display the exact same image on an OLED display for a long period of time, the image will always stay there. So it's like a ghost-in, but it's, permanently burnt into the display. Micro-LEDs are basically OLED displays without any of the issues of the OLED displays. So no burn-in, and also the brightness can be significantly higher than on OLED panels. So at the moment, the highest brightness on an OLED panel is about 1000 nits. Now on micro-LED panels, apparently it's about 1 million nits. Like literally, some people actually were wearing sunglasses when they were demoing these displays. So yeah, you can get significantly better HDR images from these TVs. Now in in real world use, these TVs, the Samsung ones, the 75-inch micro-LED Samsung TVs, those would be restricted to about 4000 nits of brightness. So yeah, this is about the same as Samsung's 2019 8K QLED TVs, which is still really impressive considering that they have all the advantages of OLEDs with the deep black levels. However, they have 4 times the brightness of the OLED panels. OLED, like I said, they're restricted to about 1000 nits. And that's not even for a full screen brightness, by the way, but rather for a really small window. And aside from the high brightness and the no burn-in issues, what's really cool about the micro-LED displays is that they're actually modular, at least the ones that Samsung developed. So they have a rail system, which means that if a few pixels actually, burn in or something happens with those pixels, they get damaged, you can actually replace that specific section of the display rather than, throwing the whole TV away. And also, since they have that rail system, you can actually merge multiple cubes together, multiple panels, and then you can form an even bigger display. So you can actually make this thing in multiple shapes and sizes, resolutions, aspect ratios. So that's awesome. But yeah, let me know in the comments, what is your favorite tech, CES tech of 2019? Is it any of the ones that I mentioned in this list, or maybe it's something else? Speaking of CES, I cannot wait to go to CES myself. I actually need a visa to travel to the US. I've never been to the US. I always wanted to go. And visas take time to get approved and lots of documents, and I've never had the time to really literally focus on this. But yeah, hopefully in 2020, that's my goal. CES 2020. So maybe I'll see you there. Yeah, thank you for watching. Definitely subscribe and notifications if you're new to the channel and you want to see more cool tech videos like this one. Hopefully this was cool and interesting. And yeah, this has been pretty much it. Thank you for making it until the end. I'm Daniel. I'll see you guys in the next video. ZONEofTECH, signing out. Cheers.